Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you're having a great and wonderful day. It seems that, Ray Epps has been finally pled guilty, and we're going to go over a few things here that is kind of a concern for us. We have this here that Ray Epps, man at center of right-wing January 6 conspiracy, pleads guilty. Ray Epps, a member of the mob that stormed the U.S. Capitol on January 6, 2021, who became the focus of widespread conspiracy theories that he was a federal agent, has pleaded guilty to one count of disorderly conduct in a restricted building or grounds in his Capitol riot case. Epps, a former Marine and Trump supporters, appeared virtually before Washington, D.C. Chief Federal Judge James Boasberg Wednesday afternoon to enter his plea. Under federal sentencing guidelines, he'll face between 0 and 6 months in prison. His sentencing hearing is scheduled for December 19th. As part of the plea deal, Epps acknowledged moving through down police barriers on January 6th and admitted to placing his hands on a sign that was later pushed into police officers by the mob. He was also acknowledged saying on January 5th, 2021, "We need to go into the Capitol. I'm possibly going to go to jail for it." He was seen on live stream today saying, "I'm going to put it out there. I'm probably going to go to jail for this, blah, 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 blah." This is already known. We already know about this stuff. So for the most part, this does not really matter. He has the theory. So we have all of this where he's been, charged, and he's actually, where he actually pleads guilty. And then we have this here where this is a bigger issue that we have. Biden's DOJ secures conviction against journalists over reporting on January 6th. And that's saying Ray Epps is not a big deal because he should be charged and for inciting violence. Of course, it's not a very long sentencing, but it's something maybe? But we have this. An independent journalist has been found guilty by a D.C. jury on charges related to January 6, 2021. Stephen Horn was found guilty of entering or remaining in a restricted area, disorderly or disruptive conduct in a restricted area, disorderly conduct in a Capitol building, and parading, demonstrating, or picketing on the Capitol building. The jury has returned a guilty verdict on my January 6 charges: entering or remaining in a restricted area, disorderly or disruptive conduct in a restricted area, disorderly conduct in a Capitol building, parading, demonstrating, or picketing in the Capitol building. I told the same truth to the jury that I posted along with my video on January 7th. I did not enter the Capitol building as part of the protest or for cheap thrills, but to accurately document and record a significant event which was taking place. My hearing was been scheduled for January. In addition, Judge Kelly has asked for a briefing of the Rule 29 motion made by lawyers, which argues that the evidence is insufficient to sustain a conviction. Horrod included a screenshot of a post on January 7, 2021 to Facebook in which he wrote that the people inside the Capitol were not by and large Antifa, that this was not a peaceful protest, that he was surprised at the lack of property destruction, and noted that I did not enter the Capitol building as part of the protest or for cheap thrills, but to accurately document and record a significant event which was taking place, as he said before. He has also gone to say, my sole motivation in entering Capitol grounds and the Capitol itself was to document, record, and publish the newsworthy events that were occurring. Although we were obviously hoping for a different verdict, I would believe we generally accomplished my goal of telling my story and laying out my case before the court. Hats off to you, great sir. According to the Department of Justice, Horn was initially arrested on April 9th, 2021, and was charged on April 13th. He was arraigned on April 27th and pleaded not guilty on all accounts. On all counts, not all counts. The department alleges that on or about January 11th, 2021, an individual notified the FBI that a photo on the New York Times Magazine social media page depicted Stephen Horn inside the U.S. Capitol on January 6, 2021. The individual providing this information was known for Horn for several years and was certain the person in the photo dressed in a black helmet, black jacket, black gloves, and a backpack was Horn. The department said a second individual made a report to the FBI regarding the New York Times Magazine social media post. This individual also stated his or her belief that the Horn was inside the Capitol as a journalist, but was not aware of Horn having any media credentials. A special agent revealed the public portions of the Horn's Facebook account on January 11th, 2021, which showed him inside the building that day. Specifically, the Facebook page contained a video approximately 2 hours long, which depicted the scene inside the Capitol. The video was downloaded by the FBI, and while the video does not clearly depict Horn's face, the voice heard on the video is consistent with Horn's voice as heard during subsequent conversations with the FBI had with Horn. The video showed Horn entering the Capitol, exiting and re-entering again, walking up an interior set of stairs, and eventually entering the office of former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. At one point in the video, the voice consistent with Horn's face with the raised voice, USA, while inside the Capitol. So this is an ongoing thing here. An FBI agent reviewed a YouTube video on January 15th in which a person interviewed Horn and others about their activities on January 6th. In the video, Horn stated he was inside the Capitol and that he was there just solely to record what was happening. Horn was stated that while law enforcement could come after him, it was worth the risk so that accurate information could come out. In records received from Facebook on January 19th in relation to search warrant, Horn makes numerous statements about being in the U.S. Capitol on January 6, 2021. Some comments include, I did not witness police doing any property damage, but I did see some in the crowd stop others in the crowd from doing property damage, or exhorting others not to do so, even in Nancy Pelosi's office. Horn voluntarily interviewed with the FBI agents on February 24, 2021 in a field office in Raleigh, North Carolina, where he admitted to being inside the Capitol and stepping over a fence on the ground that provided a warning not to go past that point. Horn confirmed that he stood on a monument inside the Capitol with one hand on the wall and his other hand holding a cell phone, and also confirmed wearing a helmet inside the Capitol, consistent with his appearance in the photo. Temple says, wow, a guy who made a documentary and was covering the January 6th riot was sentenced in as a rioter. Yes, because a guy that is just going in and documenting stuff is now a rioter, because that makes sense to someone. Alright, so it just seems to show that anybody that's in at least the DC area is just going to be an automatic criminal. And we get into the darker things of everything. January 6th prisoners John Strand, who was sentenced to prison 32 months for walking inside U.S. Capitol, is now being tortured in isolation. On January 6, 2021, John Strand was working security for Dr. Simon Gold, who was invited to speak at events on January 5th and 6th at the U.S. Capitol. Dr. Gold was invited guest speaker along with Representatives Paul Gosar and Major Taylor Greene on the east side of the Capitol that day. The speeches were canceled without notice. There was no stage setup. Hundreds, if not thousands, of Trump supporters who planned to attend the different speeches outside the U.S. Capitol were then seen wandering around looking for the protest stage. Dr. Simon Gold and John Strand were later both charged with misdemeanors. The Biden DOJ later added a unique 1512C2 charge to hundreds of peaceful protesters. This law had never been used in this way and had with a 20-year felony obstruction. Dr. Simon Gold told the Gateway Pundit, we were both offered a single misdemeanor trespass plea. I took the plea. John refused on the fact that he was innocent. The same facts, but the judge gave him 20x the sentence. If you want to see the crime, the attached video compilation from dozens of active CCTV videos is 14 minutes and shows the entire John Strand was in the Capitol. On January 6th, I protected a woman in a crowd. On MLK Day, I was violently assaulted by FBI and thrown in prison, treated like a terrorist. On 9/27/22, I was convicted by an openly biased DC jury. On 6.1/23, I was sentenced by a DC judge to nearly 3 years in prison. John Strand was sentenced to nearly 3 years, 32 months in prison. John Strand did nothing wrong. The torture and abuse continues. Based upon the Bureau of Prisons' own scoring system, using factors such as previous arrests, none, violence, none, sentence length, John should have been sent to a minimum security camp. Instead, he was sent to a prison. From inside the prison, he did a respectful interview with Grant Churchill on Real America's Voice. For the prison threw him into isolation, a cruel and unusual punishment reserved for dangerous situations. This is absolutely outrageous. So, yeah. He's not necessarily, I would say, being tortured in a say, but he is, for instance, being wrongfully prosecuted. And I'm going to have a serious issue here, because obviously in the DC, either all the juries that they're getting are horrendously biased and they're just getting very far left people, or they're not clearly doing the correct process to get the non-biased jury as possible. So this is a huge problem here, and I don't see to where this is going to go good, but again, we have only one decent story here so far, and the rest of these two stories have been horrendously bad and dark. Our country is falling apart. We're being invaded, which you'll see more of that later today, and all this great stuff. It's terrible that we're in this state of our country, and things need to get better here, and it's seeming kind of dark. But hopefully, us as Americans can push back in some kind of way. Alright guys, that's it for the video. Like and share. As always, take care.